Well, bad news. The alleged experts have already declared this year's QB draft class is no good. Good news, we can use this time to get our ducks in a row and create a time capsule addressing this question. Which QB draft class is the best in the history of people? Ooh, good one, Dave. But you know, Dave, it's going to be tough to answer what with a bunch of the guys still playing, so part of this is predicting what we haven't seen yet. But what we've already seen from the 2024 class has them collectively in the conversation for history's greatest. To this point, the 21st century's gold standard is the '04 group, which does unfortunately include J.P. Losman, but also Eli Manning, Phil Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger. A combined 4 Lombardis and 5 Super Bowl appearances. Most people, though, will still say the '83 class is tops. John Elway, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, also Champagne Tony Eason, who for what it's worth started Super Bowl 20 for the Pats, and underrated Ken O'Brien. And also Todd Blackledge, who does not own one of the class's 3 gold jackets or 11 Super Bowl appearances. The group won just 2 total Lombardis, one of which might have been for John, but both were more thanks to Terrell Davis than any QB out there. The 24 class is off to a historic start. We can give Michael Penix an incomplete to this point, and while I know old number 9, J.J. McCarthy's already got some skeptics, he gets one too. There's also Drake Maye, who just started Super Bowl 60, and by the way, he was hurt. There's Bo Nix, who I think would have started that Super Bowl if he hadn't been hurt. Then there's Caleb Williams, who appeared transformed by Ben Johnson. And don't forget the guy who a year ago we all agreed was the best of that bunch, Jaden Daniels, who pulled off the rare feat of starting a title game as a rookie. At the moment, at least, we can't rightly say any of these guys are busts, which would be a distinguishing quality compared with the other classes. Then again, how about 2020? Burrow, Herbert, Jordan Love, and early second-rounder Jalen Hurts, he of the 2 Super Bowls and 1 Lombardi. Even the biggest flop of the early round group, Tua, can't rightly be called a bust, at least not yet. He's just gotten bonked on the head a little bit too much. And the 2018 guys, who seem ancient at this point, have maybe the best shot. Mayfield, Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson, 1 Super Bowl appearance, 1 Lombardi, and 3 MVP trophies between them. Safe to say Allen and Lamar at least will get gold jackets, if not sizable baubles. But what if either of those guys does win a Super Bowl? Well, then I think it's game over for this whole debate. One thing seems clear. You better have that '83 class versus '04 class debate now, because I suspect it's going to be antiquated in about a half decade or so. Meantime, let's start the show. Yes, hi and hello, my fellow football Americans. Welcome to Football America. We're presented as ever by our pals at DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. This stands as our free agent primer for you. We've got 2 great guests coming up real quick. It's episode number 54. Mike Fuentes, your brother Gino, remains out. Best to him at home. Tell us, who is the greatest player to ever wear the number 54?
Well, Brian Urlacher has to be considered. Buffalo, look at me. I'm still thinking about that thing. Chicago Bears legend. Also Randy White considered. As of late, Bobby Wagner still playing. But for me and Ethan, it's got to be Anvil for a head, Hall of Famer, Zach Thomas. By the way, took him way too long to get into a Hall of Fame. Insulting.
By the way, Ethan, thanks for filling in as usual. You get to answer for the fellows behind the glass down there in Miami. And by the way, I should also say great times one more time down in Miami with everybody filling in for Dan Batard last week. Thanks to everybody there in that weird little office space down in the parking garage somewhere in downtown Miami. Badowski, quickly, which is going to be 10 years, let's say, from right now, the greatest QB class ever.
Well, I would still lean 84 or 83 because Elway and Marino, like, you're just not going to get much better than 2 of the 10 greatest quarterbacks that have ever played the game. I don't think, at least, but it's hard to say in the moment that when you never know, like Allen and Lamar Jackson being in the same draft class, like it might be the same thing plus Baker Mayfield plus Sam Darnold, right? Exactly. So it's like it's hard to say, but I would lean that 84 or the 20, that would be 2018, right? The 2020 class, I'm pretty low on, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not as high on those guys as some other people are, but also they could start stacking Super Bowls. But I would say 84 or the Lamar Allen class.
All right, let's get into some NFL free agency. I suspect we'll sprinkle in some hockey as well with our pals Bunkis and Vitali. Here we go. All right, how can we have a proper roundtable about all things free agency and maybe some other stuff that involves the game of life with just one person? No, I think we need to tap into Dave's digital Rolodex and get two of the best voices in the biz, people talking into microphones. First of all, Carmen Vitali from Fox Sports Radio, like I say, as good as it gets on Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Chicago Bears, really NFL at large, and then up in the capital. It's not the capital of Canada.
It's not the capital.
It's the capital of hockey.
Yeah.
From Sportsnet 590, The Fan. It's our guy, JD Bunkis. Also, make sure you're checking out the podcast he does named after himself. So vain. How are you, JD Bunkis?
Yeah, you would never do such a thing.
Never. That's not my way. How are you, Carmen Vitali? What's happening?
I'm great. Yeah, doing well.
DJ Moore's a bill. I guess we can start there. Your thoughts, Carmen?
No, listen, when I saw that the Bears got a return of a second round pick for DJ Moore, it seemed like the writing was on the wall regardless, especially from Ryan Pohl's comments this offseason during the combine in particular, where he talked so much about, there's going to have to be some really tough decisions made. And we were all just kind of like, all right, so DJ Moore is gone. And now that's happened, I mean, I thought his value really capped out at like 4. And to see that they got a 2 in return, which means the Bears will be picking twice in 4 picks in the second round, that was a deal that you do all day. And, I think that was one of the Bears' deepest position areas, right? Like they have a plethora of offensive weapons for Caleb Williams, and that wide receiver room in particular. DJ was the veteran there, so I think from a locker room standpoint, he will be missed, and I will personally selfishly miss him because it means his kids won't be running around as much and you won't get to see all those interactions, which were really fun. And I think he was needed this last season because that room is so young, but offensively, I don't really think that the Bears are really taking much of a hit at this point, especially with, going into year 2 under Ben Johnson and understanding the scheme that much more and those young players having that much more experience. Especially given the return, I think that this was a home run for the Bears.
Yeah, I suspect they'll just keep loading up at the line of scrimmage there. Bunkis, how about, you love looking at the NFC West stuff, so how do you react to the Rams getting Trent McDuffie there? Who wins that deal, the Chiefs or the Rams?
Well, I got to tell you that it's weird to me for both teams. One, like, I'll just never understand the NFL salary cap. Like the idea that the Rams are just grabbing McDuffie and they're trading out a first, I'm like, I was not aware that they were one of the teams that had the luxury of making a move like this, but here we are.
It's super weird. This has gone on with the Rams for like 8 years now.
That's what I mean.
They seem to have like double the money of everybody else.
Every year they're allowed to just trade out draft picks, take on salaries, and there's just no repercussions. Like the Minnesota Vikings, how would you feel if you're a fan of that team? Where it's like, they're gutting it, right? You just watched Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl. They're trying to gut their roster and move off of pieces. All I see is after they've made these moves, they're still like $20 million over the cap. And I'm like, what did they do? Like they got a quarterback on a rookie contract. They let Sam Darnold go, and yet they're completely capped out, and the LA Rams are just grabbing McDuffie for a late first. Is that deal actually done? Like what? I don't know the rules. Is that deal like officially consummated, Carmen?
I think so, because of the fact that, like it's a trade. So it has nothing to do with like free agency and all that. So that should have gone, that should go through. I don't think there was any deferment either as far as like what they were trading. So from everything I know about how this all works, I also have to say Trent McDuffie is like one of my favorite players in the entire league.
So good.
So I'm so thrilled, and I'm with you guys. I don't understand how the Rams do this stuff. No. Like, the reason they do it is, it's just an F them picks philosophy, and they're back to it after, they had 3 years without a first round pick. And this year they had 2 first round picks. So, Les Snead wasn't hanging on to that. Like there was just no, they don't value first round picks at all. So if you can get a proven player, I don't know if it's enough to change the philosophy of like teams around the league, but it's certainly worked out for them to go after proven players versus try to draft and develop.
Well, I'll say this. It's really, I think, very within the realm of possibility, obviously, and I bet it has among the shortest odds of Super Bowl 61 matchups is Rams-Chiefs. I think both teams win out of this. I know the Chiefs get lighter on the back end, but if Stafford's back holds up, I think they kind of, as much as I have laughed about the Seahawks, the defending world champs having longer odds to win the NFC West than another team. They just won the Super Bowl. How do they have longer odds than anybody? But anyhow, I can kind of buy the Rams as being the NFC favorite. Real quick, as we look back at Super Bowl 60, though, I'm going to be, by the way, for these next 20 minutes, the both of you and the listener should steel yourselves. I'm going to be all over the place here. I'm bouncing all over the place. We agree.
That's what I like about what you do.
Yeah, good thing we all have ADHD here, right?
Yeah, perfect. It's like, there's already like 4 different things that I want to go. Like, I'm like, I want to go back to the Bills. I want to go back to the Bears. I still want to talk about the Chiefs. Like, but yes, the Seahawks.
Well, the Seahawks beat a team, the New England Patriots, and we agree, Bunkis, I'm going to start with you. Drake Maye was hurt, right?
If they ever say so, then.
But he was, right?
He had to be. He had to be. Although, Kate, can I ask you this, though? Do you really think the game would have gone all that different if his shoulder was 30% better? Yeah?
Yes.
I don't.
I mean, it was, think about where we were as halftime approached. If you can figure out as the Patriots to scratch out a touchdown, the game is completely different as you go to the half, right?
Yeah, I guess maybe we could play the ifs, ands, or buts game with that team. They'll never admit it because, first of all, they're already the #1 cheater organization for like the next 2 decades of football that we're going to be looking at them that way. So the idea that they fudge an injury report, even though like weirdly karmically now the time they cheat, it hurts their optics. Like they have to be quiet about it. I think that Seattle was just so far and away the better team, and that the Super Bowl, as I had said many, many times, was going to be played during the NFC Championship game. Like, I don't doubt.
I know you said that. You hammered that point. A lot of other people did as well, not to discredit you.
Wasn't exactly original.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think that I was the only one who was saying that. I was so unique, like what, on your Mount Pius, being the one who had the only take that way. I do look at the Rams still as the favorite to come out of the NFC. Like, I just think of the way that game against the Seahawks went. It was razor thin. They still have a lot of talent. There's some question marks about Seattle too now moving forward, right? Like, Kenneth Walker was pretty important during that playoff run, and Charbonnet's coming off of an injury, and they don't seem all that interested in paying Kenneth Walker. There was like this weird interaction they had at the Super Bowl parade that I think went a little under the radar, where John Schneider drunkenly was like, and he's begging me to come back. And then a day later, Kenneth Walker issued a statement with his agent that was like, yeah, we never said anything like that. We want money. We want opportunity. We have not negotiated in good faith with the Seattle Seahawks. I think Shaheed was really important. Like, if you look at that game against the Rams that ultimately gave them home field advantage, that tilted on a Shaheed punt return. The Rams were weak when it came to their special teams.
It was game over, right? You felt, was there any game when he wound up in the end zone and you're like, no flags? I thought this league had ruled out touchdowns on kickoffs, but here we are, and now the Niners are cooked.
100%. So I just like, I don't know, man. I'm a little nervous about what exactly the Seahawks are going to do now, because John Schneider's track record has been, hey, I'm a really good draft and develop guy. I'll make a really good core. And then all of a sudden he starts to get trade crazy. And I've already seen things like, hey, they don't really love this draft and they really like Max Crosby. And that makes me think about Jamal Adams and this window being shorter and them making kind of one of those stupid trades and sort of like a heat check moment from John Schneider where he's feeling himself and he's like, I could do whatever I want. I got a ton of cap space. I got all my draft picks. I'm going to do this kind of stuff. And like, to Carmen's point about the Bears, that's why it's like, they're sort of one of the most interesting teams from if you were a fan of any team right now, who would you want to be standpoint? And for Chicago, it's like you move DJ Moore for a 2nd-round pick, as Carmen pointed out. Like, that's better value than you thought you were going to get. You feel like you're well run. You feel like you hit a home run with the offensive coordinator that people were like, well, is he too much of a dork? Is he going to be able to actually connect as a head coach? Well, that's already passed with flying colors. You've got 2 young wide receivers that everybody's excited about, a quarterback that's everybody's excited about, money to move around on your defense, draft capital to add to your defense. Like, yeah, that one feels good. The Bills, though, like, aren't you guys really interested in the Bills side of that trade? Because that to me is like, you traded for Shakir plus.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'll let Carmen go on this at greater length. I like the move. I think it's time. It's desperate hours if you're the Buffalo Bills, and you got to reach if you need to. You got to go get somebody. And do you want to definitely? I know we've gotten very glib about. Get rid of that guy and bring in AJ Brown. Are people paying attention to AJ Brown?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to bring that in house right now, Carmen?
It's interesting because I think that it looks great to say like, oh yeah, like DJ Moore is a wide receiver one, and he can handle all of those responsibilities and this, that, and the other. But like you look at DJ Moore's profile and what Josh Allen has historically been good at throwing to, or it's been a successful connection. DJ Moore doesn't really fit that. Like he's not big enough to me, but I like to go up for like those 50-50 balls. Like he's not going to win those. And so it's interesting. Like, I don't want to say DJ Moore's not a wide receiver one, but spending that much on a guy like makes me think like, why didn't you then just go after Alec Pierce? Why didn't you go after like something like that? Like the best wide receiver. If getting a wide receiver one meant that much to you and that's what you wanted to prioritize, and especially with like some of the people that the Bills are conceivably letting hit free agency like across the roster, where you're freeing up potential money and ability to do that, why not just go after like the best you could possibly get if you're going to pay a price like that, especially. So I don't know. I like the move from the like. I think I like the move less now that I know what the compensation is. I think that's
I hear
what
you, but the pushback I would do is whether you think DJ Moore really stands as a true number one. What it does weirdly allow for is Keon Coleman to slot as your number two instead.
Do you have the faith that he's going to do that?
I was going to say I feel like Keon Coleman is slotting in on their number off the roster. Like
that might also be true.
Yeah, the Bills are Toronto's team, right? Like we just had a Raptors-Knicks game in town last night, and it's Bills night. Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter, who are, I guess, partial owners of the Bills to some effect. I'm not exactly really sure what they own. It feels like a Jay-Z ownership stake where like they've got the 1%, but either way, they have Bills night. We've got the t-shirts out. Everybody loves the Bills here. I don't think Keon Coleman is an option for their future. Like, I think that ship has sailed. It was so bad there this year with that guy, not just from a talent standpoint, but everything that happened behind the scenes. I just don't know how you could bring him back, and if he burns you again, justify that happening with your locker room where that veteran team is having to like stick up for that guy. The thing with DJ Moore is like, I agree with Carm where, I don't know, I kind of think that he's had an opportunity to be a number one now in two different spots, and if he's your number one guy, it's a little underwhelming. If he's one of the guys in a really talented group, you feel like that's awesome. But that's not really what the Bills have. And then I think about, like I mentioned, Khalil Shakir. That's the guy there. Like, love it or don't, he's been the guy for the Buffalo Bills, their most reliable target. And there's like a little redundancy with me with those guys. Like, I agree. Like, they need the 50-50 ball guy. And yeah, like, I get what you're saying, Dave, about going out and getting AJ Brown, where he comes with different issues. But normally when you go get the issue guy, the first year can be a bit of a honeymoon.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like if you've got Josh Allen,
George Pickens,
right? Well, for at least 10 games, right? Then
I was gonna say I'm still waiting on that. Like that's gonna happen. That's an inevitability.
Yeah, 10 games of George Pickens and now franchise tag George Pickens. I'm sure this is going to be delightful for Cowboys fans. But I don't know. I think I would have gone for something that was a little higher upside if that was the price point. And to me, it's like, okay, if DJ Moore is a move and you've decided we're going to use a second round pick to go get this guy, and now we're going to do other, like we want to be in on Mike Evans. We're going to pay to go get Mike Evans. He's going to be our jump ball guy. That's when I say, okay, this looks good.
Sure.
But up until that moment, the DJ Moore thing, if that's their move, which has kind of been the Buffalo Billsy thing, right? They go out and get one guy and they're like, we did it. Yeah. If that's the move, I don't think that this actually changes the ceiling of that offense, especially since they're likely to lose their center.
Carmen, what do you think of? I'm like I say, bouncing around here. Drake Maye. Do you think he was hurt? Do you buy? I mean, it certainly seems that was the case, and the Patriots were bitten by their own snake that they couldn't say publicly he was hurt. But Josh Dobbs taking reps the weekend before the Super Bowl probably was the tell there.
My question is, are you allowed to be hurt on a Mike Vrabel team? Like, is Mike Vrabel going to allow you to say that you're hurt?
every game is a must-win game, according to Mike Vrabel. I asked
exactly.
him face-to-face,
and then the actual must-win game of the Super Bowl, are you even allowed to say that you're hurt or to like come to Mike Vrabel and be like, hey man, my shoulder hurts? He's gonna be like, I don't care. Go shoot up with something. Like,
what happens if Josh Dobbs starts that game, Carmen?
I don't think that it goes any differently, honestly, because this is my wheelhouse, is the trenches, right? And you look at how Seattle's defensive line just completely outmanned the Patriots offensive line in that second half in particular. I mean, I think they did an admirable job, to your guys' point, in the first half, where you're like, okay, maybe this is something that is, they could be a little bit more back and forth, and maybe they are a little bit more evenly matched than we gave the Patriots credit for. But at the end of the day, I think it just showed how much work they still have to do on that offensive line, because they weren't even a year removed from how terrible it was, or I guess a year removed from how terrible it was in Drake Maye's first season, where I was terrified for him to get thrown in there because I thought he was going to get killed. So you don't fix a lot of those issues overnight and in 1 year, and I think that showed. And I think just in general, the Patriots were a team that, like, they're just young. They haven't been together for very long under Mike Vrabel, and they were just a little bit more volatile, and they managed to make the Super Bowl. But Seattle, I'm with you, JD. Seattle was by far and away the better team, the more complete team, especially when you consider how dominant that defense was. And then on top of that, you had the offense that was really, really good. I'm not going to say elite or great or whatever with Sam Darnold. And like, Sam Darnold did exactly what you needed him to do to keep up and to score enough points that the defense could be like, all right, we don't have to allow, like, the defense was never going to allow more than like 10 or 15 points. So as long as you can score more than that, which Sam Darnold showed he was capable of, I mean, I think that was always the Seahawks game.
Well, I kind of bring this up to tee up this conversation. Patriots fans, like I said about Broncos fans after the AFC title game, they will lament for the next 2 to 7 decades that we would have won that game if our starting quarterback would have been available. And I suspect that Patriots fans, if it ever is revealed, Drake Maye had a messed up shoulder, they'll be like, it would have been different if we... The thing is, nobody cares outside of your fan base. No one will ever remember that. As far as that goes, JD Bunkis, if number 87, Kid Crosby, plays in the gold medal game, Canada surely wins, right?
I really believe so. I'll believe that till the day I die. Of course, he's been the boogeyman for the United States. I think that like there's, yeah. See, they.
Crosby's golden goal was 4-on-4. That's all I hear.
You know what though? That is the truth of the matter in terms of the knowledge of some hockey fans over the border, is that it's like they think 4-on-4 and 3-on-3 are the same thing. Like, they're like, yeah, this is no different than these two things. So that Sidney Crosby doesn't matter. Like, he is.
Why isn't it 4-on-4, by the way?
Why isn't it 5-on-5? Why neither were 5-on-5? So were both of them bullshit if neither of them were 5-on-5?
No, but I think we would agree that 4-on-4 is more legitimate than 3-on-3. Like, I just think you add a guy.
It's all the same shit.
Everybody plays with the same rules.
Well, here's the thing. In a hockey game, you can have a double minor where two guys are removed from the play, and all of a sudden you have 4-on-4 hockey. There's no such thing as 3-on-3 hockey in a regular season game. Like, it just doesn't happen. You can't go to the playoffs. You can't do it. So I do think 4-on-4 is more legit. I will say this. Like, America won. They get the flowers. They hung around the game. The goaltender counts. And guess what? Going into the tournament, the biggest question for Team Canada was, do they have a goalie? And how do their goaltenders compare against the American goaltenders? Right now, in our country, we have like one thing that's viewed as a true hockey crisis. We're still pumping out the superstars, right? Like, Team USA still has not, like, they can point to these Jack Hughes type players or Austin Matthews types players. They have not been able to develop the superstars like the kid we brought up, Macklin Celebrini. He was 19 years old. He was the second best player in the tournament. They have not had a Sidney Crosby. They have not had a Connor McDavid. They have not even had really a Nathan McKinnon, if we're being honest. What they have done is they've completely tilted the board when it comes to goaltending. The U.S. has probably at least 6 goaltenders who could have played for Team Canada.
It's so probably
weird,
right? It's very strange that that's the case.
Well,
that's
this
because
is where
the Americans are more unhinged.
Yeah,
you have to be unhinged.
That's a great point.
That's why.
and you guys have a better development system right now when it comes to goaltender. And this is where I get into regional politics of Canada. Quebec didn't give us anybody for our roster. It's one of our biggest provinces. It's what they're supposed to do. That's where Patrick is from. That's where Martin Brodeur is from. And really, this is not a failing of Canada so much as it is a failing of Quebec. Like, they have not given us the French next goalie.
I would say, blame the French. Blame the French.
And that's the way that I'm looking at this. Is like, I blame the format, of course. I blame not having Sidney Crosby. I'll have excuses till the day I die for that Olympics.
You guys were so happy Crosby didn't play so that you had an excuse built in. You were so happy about that. Excuse built in right from the beginning. It's not a valid excuse.
I'll tell you right now, he didn't. Everybody here was desperate to see him.
Of course.
As I keep saying, if John Cooper were given the choice, you can have pie in the sky. Who do you definitely want available for the gold medal game? I think it goes Cale Makar 1, Sidney Crosby 2 over McJesus or anyone else. How say you?
No, they would still choose McDavid. Like, he's just he's just a different player. Like, he's so unbelievable. Like,
different when the games matter, yeah.
He's got 3 games now. Someone made the Josh Allen parallel with him, and I went, yeah, right. That's actually kind of.
No, you're right.
That's kind of a good parallel.
Different kind of player. He's a loser. Yeah, just like Josh Allen, a loser.
Yeah. No, but that's it. It's like we all agree that right now they're the best in their sport. The difference is McDavid is better than Josh Allen is in his sport.
Yeah,
like the gap between him and the next guy is monumental. There's no trade in hockey that would be made where you're like. You traded even for Cale Makar, even for some of the best players, Quinn Hughes. It doesn't matter who you put together. If you move them out for Connor McDavid, you end up losing that thing. So he's still just number 1 with a bullet. He's still the guy that you wanted with the puck on his stick, like in any big spot. And I think that he did choke a little in that game, if you want to have that conversation. Like in 3-on-3, he tried to make a play that was like, this is the Edmonton Oilers facing the Vegas Golden Knights in the midst of the regular season.
Look who's on the ice in that 3-on-3. I'm with you largely about the argument.
That should have been your advantage.
Yeah. But I mean, those are the 3 guys you have on the ice when the goal is scored. Is pretty wild.
100%.
Carmen, indulge me this, and then we'll talk some free agency. I have so many things I want to get to with the two of you, and I can tell already I'm going to get to a very.
This better be a hockey question because I have things to say about 3-on-3 too.
Yeah.
Are you offended by his tweet in the moments following that golden goal? Well, I'm going to put it up here right now. I'll read it for you and the listener. Honestly, if you're an American celebrating that win, you're a casual who doesn't know puck. Totally fine. Grow the game. JD Bunkis. And he heard about it.
I kept saying throughout the entire game, I was like, we don't deserve to win this game. We do not deserve to win this game. We played like dog unit. Can I swear on this?
Sure.
I was like, we played like dog shit for most of the game. And then it took the most volatile overtime period that you could possibly have, which I don't understand for the Olympics, because who doesn't want more Olympic hockey? True Olympic hockey. I want a full 5-on-5 overtime period, at least before you start taking men off the ice. This is insane that it goes directly to 3-on-3. That was absolutely nuts. And then, it becomes more volatile and it just becomes kind of like a toss-up at that point where it's like a coin flip. And I don't like that. And I also was I was screaming at the Americans more than anything during that game about their transitions and how their goalie was literally the one that kept them in the game. So, I mean, that was amazing. And you talk about the goaltending development here in the States, which is awesome. But most of the time I was like, are you kidding? I was yelling at the Americans that they were lucky to not be down more for most of that game. So the Americans got outplayed for the entire time up until when it mattered. And so I don't have really an issue saying that. But listen, at the end of the day, what matters?
Thank you, Connor Hellebuck. Thank you, Connor Hellebuck. Thank you.
In terms of the tweet, Dave, you know me, so you knew what I was going for, which is I'm trying to joke around. Of course, Americans were going to celebrate that. The idea that you wouldn't celebrate a win is crazy. I wrote that tweet sitting in the back of an Uber with my best friend, laughing about the most crybaby things that we could say. It is a crybaby tweet. It's 100% that. It's me being salty. It's me trolling 100%. When Dave Portnoy starts retweeting it and I'm getting called out on Pardon My Take, I'm happy. This
Who
was
wins, right? Bunkis wins after all, right?
Well, here's the thing is you do a troll like that because you want a kernel of it to be true, which is most people that were celebrating that game south of the border don't watch hockey. Like, they tuned in for just this hockey game. And so it's like any type of gatekeeping. When you're a gatekeeper, you know it kind of works to trigger people because there's a kernel of truth to that thing. And so you throw that out there and it gets people pissed off. And the funny thing I find about the whole, like, you don't know puck thing or whatever, because, like, I really don't care. I think the more the merrier with hockey. And in truth, I think Canada outplayed them. They should have won that game. They do have a couple of excuses, but ultimately, Carm's right. What matters is you get the win. And if Canada won 3-on-3, we'd be celebrating it all the same. Doesn't diminish it.
Yeah.
Would have been the exact same thing. But what I will say is that we do the exact same chirp to each other. And I think it's the only time this has ever happened in the history of sports. If the Americans win, we say, you don't care. And if you guys win, what do you say? We don't even care about hockey. And so it's like, it's the only
America
chirp
wins
where,
again.
it's like, it's the exact chirp that goes both ways. And yet both sides get upset about it, no matter which side that you're on.
It is funny because I said to Bunkis about the tweet that it's sort of like, and then you flip it, Austin Matthews, the captain for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is Canada's team, much like the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. So it would be the equivalent, I guess, of Dak Prescott representing Mexico and beating the U.S. in football, right, Carmen? I mean, you can get why the emotion.
I see that, and
except for 40% of Canada's population lives in Southern Ontario. 40%. So imagine if the Dallas Cowboys had nearly half the population of your country all congregated in one place.
Well, to the outside world, most people think that, to be fair. Like, people are like, how big is Texas? It's big. It's just
what's weird, Carmen, is that most provinces hate the Leafs. Although people will push back.
Right.
All right, let's talk some football here very quickly here. We can go quick on this because I want to get into your personal thoughts on free agency. But let's nuts and bolts it here. Start with you, Carmen. When the dust settles, where will these guys be for the 2026 NFL season? Malik Willis.
Okay. Oh, gosh. Minnesota Vikings.
That sounds uninspired. You can push back on that one, Bunkis, or you can tackle Mike Evans.
I want to say that I want to see, weirdly, Malik Willis. Like, I think what would be fun is him in Arizona, where it's like he replaces Kyler Murray,
Makes
but
sense.
he's asked to basically do the same thing.
Same thing,
But they have,
right.
yeah, but like they have weapons there, and I like he's the most interesting free agent quarterback. Like, I guess you could make the case for Kyler, but I feel like we've seen more of Kyler, so there's less mystery there. Malik Willis is the black box where we're like, hey, maybe this is Matt Flynn 2.0. Maybe this is actually the next Sam Darnold, where he gets an opportunity and he's awesome. So I'd like to see him with the Cardinals. I also think it would be fun to see him like with the Dolphins. Like, just hey, go out and be the guy there. But I don't. Oh, those guys, the Dolphins fans are not.
We're
into
not.
that.
Yeah,
What do you want the Dolphins?
I'm not into it. I'm not into it.
What do you want the Dolphins to do?
I would let Ewers ride this year out and just go full tank mode and see if you have anything there. And if not, try again for a quarterback next year. Or I'd bring in, like, I would rather have Kyler Murray for super cheap than Malik Willis for $60 million, honestly.
I'd rather not do anything and just do Ewers. If you're going to tank, do the full tank, because Kyler Murray is good enough to win you some games. That's just going to tank your draft pick. So just go full Ewers. Lost season. It's not like I haven't had the last 25 been lost on me anyway. So one more. Oh, what's one more going to hurt?
I mean, I'm still stunned that Carmen, of all the available options to Malik Willis, I assume he would have to be promised the gig, right, to sign there. He's not going to be like, I'll compete with J.J. McCarthy with number 9 for the starting gig.
Yeah.
You would have handed it to him, which would indicate. And Carmen, my ears perk up when you say that, because do you know something about KOC? What he says publicly doesn't align with they seem to be claiming like, yeah, JJ's our guy.
Yeah, they do, but also, like, what have their actions told you? Which is what I go off of, which is like,
I think they now have to make it work after Darnold did what he did. They have to lean into it now.
They do, but they also don't have a GM effectively right now. So, like, that's the other thing too, where I'm like, okay, what is, I guess, the reason that, like, and it's an off the wall answer for sure, but it's one of those things where I'm kind of like, all right, if you're going to root for something like chaos, I think that that's it because the teams are so familiar with each other. What we've seen as a trend in this division is like the inter-division trades. And if you look at where KOC is comfortable and who he knows, well, who does he know really well? He knows Matt LaFleur really well. And like they come from the same tree. And so I think that there's something there. I don't know if it like how actually realistic it is, but I also don't think that they essentially think that JJ McCarthy's the guy anymore or like don't at all because firing Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah after seeing Sam Darnold get to the Super Bowl, just it tells me that they're like, we made a mistake. And if you made a mistake,
that is kind of like, who traded Luka? Get him out.
I thought they fired him because he took pat leave for too long.
Well, yeah, that was right. Like that was the concern,
yeah.
Right? But like, that tells me that like we made a mistake. And the other part of saying we made a mistake is that we don't have that guy on the roster because you still believed in JJ McCarthy. Then don't you keep the guy that got him there? Like I that to me, there's something wrong there.
Right. There's something, you're right about that. Okay. Next up, let's go with Bunkis, Ken Walker.
Oh God. Can I say, this is the one guy where I really want him back in Seattle. Like I don't get why these two sides can't figure this one out. Like
at $8 million, right? $7-8 million.
Well, again, like this is a guy who it's a free agent running back, and it's a fairly deep running back class. So the idea that he's going to get something like astronomical that you just can't get off of, to me, like, that doesn't compute because we just saw Saquon Barkley when he hit free agency what he got. This guy's not Saquon Barkley, so isn't he going to get something a little bit more reasonable? If you're Seattle, are you really going to use your first round pick to draft a running back and have the unknown of bringing that in? That feels like what the Chiefs kept doing after their Super Bowl wins. And
Snyder's not opposed to using high picks on runners.
Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? It worked out to the effect of getting first round running backs that had 0 careers with the Seattle Seahawks. So I just want to see Walker return. This one just makes too much sense to me. Charbonnet's coming off of an injury. Why would you want to assume? And like Charbonnet's a good change of pace back. I like him. He's a good pass blocker. There's things about him I enjoy, but I don't look at him and be like, wow, he's such a dynamic runner. He's not going to make those plays like the game against the Niners where it's like you could just make people miss in the hole the way that Kenneth Walker can. He's a dynamic weapon. He makes so much sense for this team. You have a proof of concept. He fits in with the room. Like, I just don't know why this would be. And again, I don't understand NFL free agency at all. I understand. I don't get it. I know they got to pay JSN. I know they got to pay Devin Witherspoon eventually. But as of this moment, I think that they're like the 6th most salary cap in the NFL.
Yeah,
like they've got a ton of room.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
I can't get over the fact that the Seattle Seahawks, coming off of a Super Bowl, have the 6th most cap space of any team. And also the fact that they're willing to let Kenneth Walker walk. Because I'm like, what? If you have the money, why wouldn't you keep him for all of the reasons?
It's very strange.
Which makes me, again, like sends off alarm bells. Like, why, if you have the money, are you going after someone that you can't afford to keep him? Or like, what's happening here?
The only thing I can figure is that potentially he made a lot of noise about wanting to be a bell cow back and didn't like
one of the highest paid
the carries. Yeah. And so he wants to be higher paid and he doesn't feel like maybe they're evaluating him as one of those bell cow backs that they're trying to pay him like he's a timeshare running back. But in terms of like fit, money, opportunity, what like again, I can't think of a place that makes more sense for Kenneth Walker. Like what, you want to go be a Tennessee Titan? Enjoy. Like I just think Seattle Seahawks make by far the most sense for Kenneth Walker, and that, God, I just really do hope that cooler heads prevail there.
How say you, Carmi V, on the aforementioned Mike Evans?
Don't do this to me. I was just talking about it. Listen, you made the case for him in Buffalo, and it's a good one. I don't want to admit it, though, because I don't want to see him in a uniform other than Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I'm biased. I've spent 6 years of my career there, and I spent 6 years of my career with Mike. I adore him as a human. He's
very
incredible.
Funny.
He's hysterical. First of all, he's got the best interests. Like him and I align very much on the Harry Potter stuff, and that's essentially how we bonded. His wife is actually funnier. His wife is hysterical. I love her so much, and she runs that house, and she's like 5'0", and she just runs Mike. It's awesome. I love her to death, Ashley. But I also think that there's a stubbornness with Jason Light when it comes to Mike Evans because of the fact that that was his first ever draft pick. And Jason doesn't necessarily operate like that normally, but I do think that the Tampa is going to do whatever they can to keep him. And I also think that Mike essentially wants to stay there. He wants to finish out his career in the place that it started. He's an incredibly loyal guy. And I do think that there are situations that could lure him away from there, i.e. Buffalo, especially if now that you have DJ Moore, you add Mike Evans and you add a couple more pieces and you think, okay, this team could really be, I know we say it every offseason, it's like, could really be a contender this year. This could really be Bill's year. And I think that there are some extraordinary circumstances that could lure Mike away from Tampa, but I think they would have to be just that. They would have to be extraordinary because of the fact that I know how loyal Mike is, how much that staff wants to keep him. And also that I don't know that Tampa would they don't want to lose that piece of their offense for myriad reasons. So I really think that Mike stays in Tampa. I truly do think that's the most likely option, but I do think that there are a couple teams that could present a really tempting case.
I don't know. The dynamic about quarterbacks making receivers better than they might actually otherwise be is well known. I think Mike Evans is the number one since back to the A&M days of making whatever quarterback he has look a little bit better than the quarterback actually is, which is why, here's a wild card for you. You don't have to react to this. The team on the banks of the Three Rivers is desperate for a wide receiver. They haven't had one now. We're now into year 3 of them not having a viable second wide receiver. I wouldn't be so. I think they're all in on Aaron Rodgers. Is that, first of all, your take on that one? I'll go with you, Bunkis. As a human being, if you happen to catch him on McAfee or elsewhere, do you think it's a done deal?
That he's going back to Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think that he's going back to Pittsburgh. He's going to play one more year, which, I can't think of something that feels less attractive than that. You've got the guys in the room talking about how they're willing to put up with a year of Quinn Ewers. I think I would rather the year of Quinn Ewers than the year of Aaron Rodgers. I really do. I think that now, I thought that was the most depressing thing, that they were we're so beaten down. There's so much apathy. We've seen so many bad teams. Just let us watch 17 games of Quinn Ewers throw the football. That Aaron Rodgers is actually the most depressing of the scenarios. If I'm Mike Evans, I wouldn't even take that phone call. You want to go play with the mercurial Aaron Rodgers on a terrible turf where Mike Evans has to deal with injury problems.
Okay, I'm just saying that they're going to be. Don't be surprised at the swings they take at that position.
Sure, take a swing all you want, but if I have hamstring issues, why would I want to go play on that turf up in the cold, those cold weather games? That's actually the argument against Buffalo. Is if I'm Mike Evans and I want to have a long career, I want to stay where it's warm and I want to stay where it's familiar. And also, if he has a bit, does he have a Hall of Fame case?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Yeah.
But I also don't
think, for whatever reason, I don't think about him that way.
I don't think that he's super caught up in the longevity of his career, just from things that he said to me, things that I know about him. Now, again, money changes things. But I really think that a lot of this was him hanging on to have Jerry Rice's record. And then he ended up getting hurt. He went under the knife for the first time in his entire career because, like you said, he's had hamstring issues, but he's never actually had surgery until now. And I think he doesn't want to go out like that, which is why I think he'll continue to play. But I wouldn't bank on him being more I wouldn't bank on him being oh, I don't want to play there because I want my career to last 3, 4, 5 more years. I don't see him playing.
He's got a ring and all that. So what's your answer? Yeah, clearly you're the Evans whisperer here, Carmi. Where's he going? Do you think it is Tampa?
Okay. I think he's staying in Tampa. I truly think that. I know I'm warning against the fact that I'm biased, but I really truly think he's staying in Tampa.
Where's AJ Brown? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, the reason why I asked about the Hall of Fame question with him is if you guys all agree that he's he's going to go in with certainty, I do wonder if there's a value for a guy like that and the organization to just say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you wore one uniform? Wouldn't it be?
Yeah, like I said, he's got his ring already.
If you became the Tampa Bay Buccaneer, the guy that we point to, it's Mike Evans had his whole career here. It's not like our situation is one where we can't win games. Come back and do this. Because the case I was going to make for Buffalo is, does he become the first football player where they do load management, where they're just hey, we need you for the playoffs. We're good enough to be able to get there. We'll sit you a bunch of games. We'll let you collect paychecks. We'll let you go hang out with your tiny wife and do your thing and just show up when the games matter the most and be Josh Allen's jump ball guy. But I think the Tampa thing makes the most sense.
I think that Mike Evans should say, I will come back to Tampa, but only if you commit to the creamsicles for 17 regular season games. Or
I agree.
I mean, who doesn't?
I don't mind their uniforms now, but this is also I started working for them during the alarm clock era of their uniforms, and that was horrendous for so many reasons. Nobody liked them, first of all, not even the guys, and then trying to see numbers from the press box was insane. Like, it was just the worst possible combination. It was horrendous, and I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah, it was awful stuff. Now, free agency, my pal, handsome Hank Hodgson, king of international football. I forget what his title is with the NFL properly, but either way, he's always advocated for, if you're a free agent, make sure you run the gamut of all of America's best restaurants. Make sure on the team's dimes, like travel all over Football America, eat at all the best restaurants, then announce where you're going. Don't be in a rush to announce the tampering period or in the first hour. So I want to advocate for that. But where would you, and I'm going to start with you here, Carmen, if you, just from a human standpoint, not football situation, but just where would you most want to play in the NFL if all options were available to you?
Just
and
from
I don't mean like this team might win, but I mean, like, I like that stadium. Like, I would never sign on a team. I would never sign with a team that would send me to go live in a dormitory for August. Like, I'd be like, well, no, I'm not. No, please. I'm an NFL football, but I'm not sleeping in some dorm room that isn't air conditioned. Yeah. How sick.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a couple because of how I know the organization is run from just whatever, and I like them, and the stadium standpoint. Okay. So Philadelphia is one. And most of my family is actually from Philadelphia. My dad is from there. So like all of his family is still in the tri-state area. So I love the Link as a stadium. It's awesome.
It's underrated. I agree with you.
It's sick. It is because it's just solid. It's really sick, and they have the Philadelphia soft pretzels are like just from that childhood thing that I just adore. So like you get those in the press box. And
second best sandwich in the state of Pennsylvania. Those Philly cheesesteaks.
Those Philly cheesesteaks. Except the best Philly cheesesteak I've ever had actually is here in Chicago. Don't tell anybody, and do not tell my family.
It's done.
I love Philly. So Minnesota is my favorite stadium in the entire league. I think the game presentation and the atmosphere, and even as a player, like getting to play there as a Minnesota Viking is incredible. Just like the Skol chant and the fake snow that comes down, and like that organization just as a whole, like the way that they like treat their staff and everything like that is really, really good. Their facilities are really amazing. Like all of that is great. Now, I think Minneapolis has a really sneaky food scene. Also, if we're gonna like stay on the thing of food, they have some really, really good restaurants. As someone who has
as a human being, you eat pretty much every day, so it is right.
And I also don't care about the cold. I don't care about the cold. I am someone that grew up in Chicago, and I would much prefer having seasons. One of those seasons being where it gets below zero and it snows and all that. Like,
but then you get to play in the dome, which stinks. I don't like that.
But the stadium is really, really cool. And then on top of that, I think Baltimore is another one that I really love because again,
it looks like their stadium looks like the Jawa's robot mover. And if you
but it's also right.
Star Wars,
it's right in Baltimore, which I think is a very underrated city.
You can walk up right past Camden. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And like Camden Yards is an incredible venue too that I've been to. I've spent a sneaky amount of time in Baltimore where like, again, great food scene right by the water, more than even the Inner Harbor is like that Fells Point area, which I love. And it's just like colonial America and cobblestone streets and like really good dive bars. And like people are just like out in the alleys. And I love it. It's very, and then like,
well, go to Pittsburgh if you want that vibe. It's like Baltimore, but
you're not by the ocean.
Infinitely better.
I want crabs, okay? I want crabs. the little creatures to eat. Okay, I don't want.
Clip that.
No, too late. Clip it off.
That's going in the club this week.
I can't also get out of this by saying like I would stay right where I am, which is Chicago, Illinois, because I adore Chicago. I love this city with my whole damn heart, and I always have. I've been called away and moved all over the country because of jobs, because of work, but I've always tried to get back here, and we've done it. All right. We bought a condo. We live here. My fiance works here. His studio is here. Like I am trying like hell to stay here for like the rest of my life.
Well, you're not going to get to. Gary, Indiana is where you're headed every Sunday, apparently.
I know that apparently. Either way, this city is incredible, and I love it so much. So from a human standpoint, I'm never happier than when I'm in Chicago.
I
couldn't be more different in this answer. Like
go LA.
Where are you going to go? All warm weather?
I live in Canada. It's cold.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the snow. Do you know what a lot of Canadians do in the wintertime? They become what's called snowbirds.
Snowbirds.
And you know where they go live? Southern Florida. And that's where I would be going. Miami. First of all, if we're doing the stadium thing, that's the worst stadium I've ever been to. I had to wait in that, a Sonic parking lot for like 2 hours to wait for an Uber.
Have you been since the upgrades, though? Because the upgrades are beautiful. It's a world-class facility now. It used to be a shithole, but
that doesn't help him waiting.
I went 3 years ago is the last time that I've seen a game at Hard Rock. I was there for the Lamar homecoming on Thursday Night Football. Sellout crowd, parking lot. Horrible to get to, horrible to get out of. Like, again, I don't want to be in gridlock traffic because I live in Toronto. We've got some of the worst commutes on planet Earth. So I'm kind of going against that with the whole idea of playing at that stadium. But you know what my biggest takeaway was when I was in Miami the whole time? It would be really nice to have money here because I went as a middle-class Canadian and I had a pretty good time. And I was like, God, look at that yacht. Look at that yacht. Look at that one. That's nice. I would like to go to one of those someday. So if I was an NFL player, I would like to go somewhere where the weather is beautiful. There's like an incredible nightlife. I could have fun. I could have an amazing car, but also there's not like a crazy pressure to win there. Like these guys are talking about Quinn Ewers. I can go out there and just have some decent stats and be loved forever. Like that's takes the pressure off.
There's no state income tax, which matters to
exactly.
Americans.
I'm not taxed, and as a Canadian, I'm taxed out the ass. So I would like that part of it as well. But like that piece, I think is really attractive if you were a player. Like when you said Philadelphia, I'm like dead last. Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl there, and the next year they're like, he sucks. We hate him. We hope he leaves.
I was saying that's the caveat with Philly is the fans. The fans are so insane, and they're also well informed too. So
and the media, and the media,
like it's hard to argue with.
I want to go somewhere where I can be like LaMelo Ball, where I drive around town, I create havoc and accidents, and the whole city's like, that's our guy. We love our guy. He's got no pressure. We're happy that he's here. I want to be a menace. And if I was a menace, I would want to be in South Florida. I'd want to play for the Miami Dolphins. I'd want no pressure. I'd hang out on my yacht. I'd spend my millions of dollars. I'd be at 11. I'd be doing it all. I'd have the best of times.
Oh, man. All right, listen, I like I predicted, we got to a small fraction of the stuff I wanted to cover with the two of you. Great stuff. I think I made a mistake. Next time it'll be just Carmen Vitali or just JD Bunkis, or hopefully both of them sooner rather than later.
I liked it.
Individually. But yeah, it's a fun roundtable just the same. Carmen Vitali, Fox Sports Radio, track her down with my guy Martin Weiss and beyond. Great stuff always from her. JD Bunkis, Sportsnet 590, The Fan, as well as the JD Bunkis podcast. Make sure you're checking out their great work. Thanks, the two of you. There they go, and here we go too. Real quick, please do subscribe if you haven't already to the audio podcast, wherever you find your podcasts, as well as to the YouTube page, Football America. Doing real well. Our last episode, all about the Tarantino character draft with Zaz and Amin. Please check that out and all the rest of it. Until next week, thanks so much, my fellow Football Americans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.